heavy. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my thoughts and impressions regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 118, A Reckless Proposal. And I gotta be honest with you guys, pretty much the word heavy is all I can say to describe this episode. It was real heavy, the duel was insane, and there was a big surprise here towards the end of the episode, which I certainly did not see coming, no pun intended. But to see this happen literally 2 episodes away from the finale, this is going to be the ultimate test for Playmaker, but we'll talk about all of this soon enough. So, at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins where we left off last week, the continuation of Playmaker versus I, the final duel, and we see Playmaker finally make his turn after I wiped his field clean last episode, or at the end of last episode. And Playmaker does a continuous summon, bringing out Cyverse Witch, Cyverse Magician, Transcode Talker, and Cyverse Clock Dragon, all in one move. But before Playmaker is able to move in for the attack, I is able to stop him with a trap card called I Show, and what this does is it allows I to bring out Judgment Dragon, Fire Phoenix, Wind Pegasus, Earth Golem, and he's also got, Dark Knight here on the field, so he's got 5 of the 6 Ignises represented here, and that's really the core of the episode and why I said this was heavy. So again, we'll get to that. So now I's got his field completely loaded, and it also ends the battle, so Playmaker has no choice but to end his turn, and it's really at this point we get into the heaviness and the emotion of this episode. We learn a little bit more about how I feels. He's the last Ignis. He said it feels like if you were the last human on Earth, to put it in phrases that Yusaku could possibly understand. And I even go so far as to say, I understand how you feel. I understand what it's like to be lonely. And we also learn that I's plan here, there's no going back. Playmaker is ultimately going to choose how I dies, because either I is going to lose at the hands of Playmaker and he is going to be no more, or Playmaker is going to lose and I will divide his free will program amongst the I clones, thus making him no more. So either way, I is doomed, I is set to die, and basically we learn that I's plan is to have Playmaker be the one to choose how I dies. I doesn't want to live anymore, he doesn't want to be lonely anymore, and ultimately he wants his old partner, Playmaker, to ultimately be the one to choose how he is going to end up and what his fate will be. And it's at this point I continues his move by bringing out Water Leviathan and attempts to wipe Playmaker out with Fire Phoenix's effect, but thanks to Overfloater, the card that Playmaker had discarded, or banished rather, very mysteriously from I must point this out, he banished it for Cyverse Witch's effect here, and I had no idea what it was that he banished, but this card is ultimately what saves him, the card that he banished that I had no clue about, and what it does is it negates Fire Phoenix effect, so ultimately Playmaker is safe from being destroyed with that effect. However, he does end up losing a monster from this as well, and so I is now full on, he's going to continue fighting seriously, and he uses I's Fighting Spirit, a spell card, to revive Fire Phoenix. So now he's got everything on his field. He's got Water Leviathan, Fire Phoenix, Judgment Dragon, Wind Pegasus, Dark Knight, Ignister, Earth Golem. He's got them all. All the Ignises are represented here, and we see I say something ominous, basically to the effect of, now we will truly become one. And what he means by this is none other than using all 6 of these monsters to link summon. That's right, everybody, the first Link 6 monster of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, and probably the only Link 6 monster we're going to see in VRAINS, appears, and it is I's ultimate creation at Ignister, the Arrival. And this card is insane. It is a combination of the 6 monsters, a representation of the 6 Ignises coming together, and we learn that I had created the Arrival by enhancing Bowman's Brains program, the one that he used to create the Link 5 monsters way back when Playmaker was going up against him in the duel that ultimately ended Season 2. So this is an enhanced Bowman program, so even Bowman is used here in the Ignis plot, or Ai's plot, to unite all the Ignises, which I think is interesting because Bowman was going to be the ultimate Ignis, the Ignis's replacement, and so now that he's been included into this as well, is really coming together in my opinion, and I really got to give Vrains props for that. So the Arrival, the only Link 6 monster in Vrains, and this thing looks incredible. I think they spent the entire animation budget of the remaining production of Vrains just on the Arrival. This thing looks sick, and it's got a sick effect to go with it. This monster has the effect of it gains 1,000 attack points for every monster used to Link summon it. So automatically, it's going to have 6,000 attack points. However, it gains an additional 1,000 attack points for every card on Ai's field. Right now, he's got 4. So the Arrival now has 10,000 attack points, and we also learn when Ai summons a token monster, he is able to jump its attack points even higher to 11,000 attack. And we learn also that Ai's whole field is set up at this point. The only way that Playmaker is going to win this duel, the only way he's going to be able to get to Ai, is to deal with the Arrival, because it doesn't matter what Ai summons to his field, Playmaker has to destroy the Arrival first before it can affect any other monsters. So he's got this really OP 11,000 attack point Link 6 monster that he has to go through in order to get to Ai. This is going to be Playmaker's ultimate test. Playmaker runs into it with full determination, fighting seriously as he brings out Firewall, Xyz Dragon, and Cyber's Quantum Dragon, and he actually tries to use Quantum's effect to return the Arrival back to Ai's hand and ultimately battle again, which ultimately, in theory, should win him the duel. However, Ai is able to stop this with the Arrival's effect and fight back against Quantum Dragon, destroying Quantum Dragon, and that's where the episode leaves off, with Playmaker's last ace in the hole, if you will, to go after this card this turn, the Arrival. This is pretty much gone at this point. Playmaker is left with no other options at this point, and that's where the episode leaves off. Now, like I said, this episode was amazing. It was very heavy. It was very fitting for what a final duel should be. And the fact that I pulled out the biggest surprise of Vrains so far, a Link 6 monster right at the very end. And this thing is a combination of not only the Ignises, but Bowman. It's an enhanced Bowman program here. This really just helps draw everything together. And I was really excited to see Vrains bringing in all this. And Vrains is really pulling out all the stops to make this duel a memorable final duel, which is ultimately all we could ask for. Overall, in my opinion, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. It was a great episode in my opinion. The animation for the Arrival looks sick. There's really not a lot of negative things I can say about this episode, just because of how the dialogue was handled between these two, and the fact that Playmaker is going to be ultimately the one that chooses how Ai dies. Really nice touch, in my opinion. But those were my thoughts. But as always, in the comment section down below, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts on the Arrival? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.